On Thursday's How to Get Away with Murder, new details about Wes's death were revealed while the others worried about Simon's awakening. Here are the most important things to know about the day before he died, the 14th of Season 4. In flashbacks, the show began 8 months prior, with Wes getting a call and going to meet Laurel's mom. She knew he was Christoph, and he secretly recorded their conversation. She referenced his legal troubles and offered to pay him to stop seeing Laurel. She gave him a check for $100,000 and told him to contact her through Dominic. When Wes tried to resist, her mom said that Laurel would break his heart. Wes took the check but later ripped it up and transferred the audio recording to a flash drive, which he hid in his apartment. When Laurel came by, she thought he was just upset with her because of Frank's return to town. He insisted they were good. But Wes and Laurel later had a fight, in part due to the thoughts her mom planted in his head. The argument took place on the day he died. In the present, Laurel, Frank and Bonnie listened to the recording Wes made. Bonnie suggested they loop in Annalise, who was meeting with Michaela, Asher, Connor and Oliver. Connor and Oliver happily shared that they were going to have a full-on wedding when Annalise dropped the bomb. Simon's awake. Bonnie arrived and privately told Annalise that Nate was monitoring the situation. She also shared that Isaac was still in the hospital, but didn't tell her about Laurel's mom as planned. Simon regained some of his ability to speak and requested to see Oliver, who nervously went to see him. A detective told Oliver that it was still an active investigation and not do anything to obstruct justice, after Annalise had already encouraged him to lie. Simon asked him, "Did I do it? Did I come out to you?" He had no recollection of the shooting, which was a relief to everyone. Still, Nate told Annalise, "Keep your phone close." Connor accused Michaela of having feelings for Marcus, but she said she wouldn't act on them. Again. "Do you want to be a cheater or lying cheater, because the truth is going to come out?" Connor asked her. The detective then called Michaela in for an interview, and she attributed any squabbles she had with Simon to typical workplace competition. Michaela concluded Simon was remembering more, and the group started to panic. Annalise said they needed to control Simon, ideally by him hiring her. She urged Oliver to help them turn him, so Oliver told Simon that he reciprocated his feelings, and urged him to hire a lawyer. Turns out, he already had one, Tegan. Annalise told her it was a conflict of interest, given that Simon stood accused of stealing files from her firm. Tegan told her, "You're not gonna win this one," and Annalise accused her of really working for Laurel's dad to make sure none of the stolen files about his company got out. Meanwhile, Laurel and Frank confronted her mom with the recording, and she denied getting a call from Wes before he died. "I would never hurt anyone you loved," she insisted. Laurel later wondered to Frank why Wes didn't tell her what was going on, and urged Frank to fill Annalise in. He promised that, no matter what I have to do, she'd be reunited with her son. Laurel told him, "No more dead people." Immediately after, he received an alert about a mechanical error on an automobile. It was for Bonnie's car, which Frank then inspected and determined to be fine. Bonnie, though, suspected her car was messed with as a result of him and Laurel confronting her mom and, presumably, angering her dad by doing so. She, too, urged Frank to talk to Annalise, but Annalise ignored his call as she was entering Isaac's hospital room. He said he was proud of her work at the Supreme Court, and assured her, "You didn't do this to me." She still blamed herself for his relapse, and he in turn said he was suicidal of his own accord. Annalise told him about almost breaking her sobriety in D.C., and Isaac pointed out that she ultimately didn't. They alluded to their mutual feelings, and when she offered to help him get out of the hospital, he told her, "This is the last time we can see each other," prompting her to leave in tears. Right after, Nate called to tell her Simon remembered Laurel being at the party and would be giving a statement to the detective, who would want to question Laurel, too. Michaela went to Laurel for advice on the Marcus situation, and she theorized that they both sabotage anything good in our lives. At the same time, Asher suggested Oliver and Connor marry soon, so they wouldn't be able to testify against each other, and then suggested he and Michaela should do the same. But based on Oliver and Connor's reaction, he suspected something was up. When Michaela worked up the courage to tell Asher about her infidelity, he confronted her first, having figured it out through Oliver and Connor. She called it a mistake, but he shouted back that he was stabbed in the heart. Annalise called Laurel to warn her about the detective and instructed her to hide at the apartment and not do anything. Annalise then told Asher, Michaela, Connor and Oliver about the development, admitting Simon probably remembered everything at this point. She forced Oliver to go back to the hospital, this time disguised as Tegan's associate to gain access to the room. Simon said he didn't actually remember everything, but knew Laurel was there and stealing something, but they were now trying to frame him. Oliver put him on the phone with Annalise, who pitched him on a whistleblower visa if he cooperated with them. At the same time, Michaela confronted Tegan, telling her she was on the wrong side. Tegan in turn said she needed Michaela to let this go, but she was too dumb. When Tegan returned to Simon's bedside, he said he wouldn't be giving a statement, that he didn't see Laurel and she was fired. Instead of staying put, Laurel went to Denver, saying she was willing to turn herself in for stealing the files and providing the gun that Simon accidentally shot him with. But she said if she did, she would expose the proof she had of his illegal doings with her father. Asked what she really wanted, she demanded, "Tell me who really had Wes." The show then jumped to Laurel confronting her mom again as Frank and Annalise tried to track her down while Bonnie drove around after learning Denver was the one who had the drive with the files and was playing both sides. Through his surveillance, Denver learned Bonnie was snooping, prompting him to call Laurel's dad and, "If you don't handle it, I will." Laurel told her mom that she knew, based on phone records from Denver, that she received Wes' call because she called him back 10 minutes later. Laurel's mother claimed she wanted to help him. As the flashbacks showed what went down on the call, Wes told Laurel's mom that he was in trouble with the police and that Laurel may be targeted too, urging, "Just do whatever you have to keep her safe." Her mother then called Laurel's dad, urging him to do something. Laurel now concluded that her mom and dad had Wes to prevent him from turning himself in and taking her down, too, which would have ruined her dad's plans to take his company public and make them richer. She tearfully demanded of her mother, "Tell me why I should enter you right now." The ended with Nate calling to tell Annalise there was a car accident, with a dead body being put into an ambulance.